Hey, book babes. Oh my gosh. December. It is the last month of the Happiness Project. Friends, can you even?
I can't. It feels good.
I it does. So with December in chapter 12, she has boot camp perfect. So the focus is complete happiness, which my assumption is she is putting everything that she has found in the last 11 months and incorporating them into the whole 31 days of December. So I love just to like within the first page, she puts it out. Did I have even one single perfect day during December? Nope, but I kept trying.
That is like my
And
favorite part of it. It's just like, it just
I
goes
love
to
it
show no matter what, you just have to keep going.
exactly. And she wasn't going into the month like she didn't like lead us on and like make us think that she succeeded this whole month of incorporating everything and everything was perfect. No, she tells us straight up within the first like second paragraph that there was not a single perfect day. But the point was that she kept trying and she showed up. And she even talked about how a lot of her readers were so thankful to have been led through this. And I love that she talks about the fact that she thought that it made her very happy to think that her blog helped contribute to the happiness of people that she had never met. And I love that. And that spoke to me, and I'm sure you too, because part of us showing our journey in our personal life and our fitness and all this is to show those people that we've never met and reach out and have that connection with people and complete strangers online that are like, hey, thank you for doing this. And I 100% understand why she thought that that was so cool about her blog.
Absolutely. She's spreading hope and joy. Like, how could people not want to do that, right? Not want to just be the good where, like, if you look at me, hopefully at some point in my life, I do something or I say something that's nice enough that it brings a smile to your face. And it, makes you double think about just how awesome you are and how much you matter. Like, I'm here for that vibe.
Definitely here for all of the happiness.
I'm trying to flip through this real quick to see. Again, I think like she really focuses on the truths that spoke to her. And the one that I highlighted yet again is I'm not happy unless I think I'm happy. Because again, it just shows that happiness is so much a mindset. Like, yes, the actions behind everything you do, that's 100% what helps create that happiness. But at the end of the day, if you're still sitting there complaining and saying, oh, my life sucks, well, then you're never going to be happy because you're choosing not to be happy. And I think that's really powerful. And it's often taken for granted that the happiness really is like, it's a choice. It's something that you get to think about and decide.
Definitely. And then she just kind of talks about like my biggest happiness boost had come from eliminating the bad feelings generated by my snapping, nagging, gossiping, being surrounded by clutter, eating fake food, drinking, and all of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's like one little spot where if you had to take anything, let's say that you skimmed through the book, you didn't want to really read anything. If I could highlight one little section of a book where I just want you to concentrate on this one thing, if I wanted you to get away one thing, I love that. I love that little section because if you just did everything that she put, like snap less, nag less, make sure that you're not eating fake food, like work on clutter. Those are all such little tangible things that I would imagine could easily improve your mood, your overall happiness, and everyone else's happiness around you, especially if you're nagging, especially if you're snapping. And that's just, it seems so simple when she just puts it out there like that.
Well, and I think she really talks about, people asked her, like, what's the secret to happiness? What's the what? If you gave me one thing, what's that going to be? And she never had one powerful, like, obviously, like you said, exercising played a role, sleeping better played a role. All these things had played a huge role. But she said the single most effective step for me had been to keep my resolutions chart. And I think this like is mind blowing because to me, all it means is you're keeping promises to yourself. Like that's what happiness comes down to. You set your intentions, you set your goals, you decide you're going to go after it, and then you don't break that promise to yourself. And that's what she did. She figured out her gold star system, the thing that was going to keep her working and keep her inspired and keep her pushing on towards that. And she showed up for it. I thought that was just awesome.
Definitely. I have that part too. And then she talks about how like my happiness project had proved to me, however, that the atmosphere of growth was a huge contributor to happiness.
Mm.
And I love that she covers on that. And with that, it even tells you she's not going to be done with this going forward. Like there is definitely going to be aspects where she's going to jump out of her comfort zone more. She's going to take on those challenges. She's going to try to continue to stay in that growth atmosphere. And that's just to kind of prove like there is no final destination with happiness. You are going to continue to want to kind of be in that growth atmosphere. And once you grow and you reach those things, you're going to have new mindsets and you're going to have new things that you want to attain. And that's the cool thing about growth atmosphere is you don't reach a ceiling of it. You're constantly expanding and then expanding upon that. And so I love that she talks about that being such a contributor to happiness.
100%. I have that exact same section, like where she says, you won't wake up one day and find that you achieved it. It's something that you have to resolve to do every day forever. It's every day forever. It really is a life change. And we're so apt to just go for the quick fix. We're so apt to just go for a diet, something easy, something simple that we can get done and get over with. But that's just it. This is our life and we only have one. And it doesn't end until it ends. And so it's just reminding yourself, like, this is what you're showing up and fighting for every single day. This is the hard work. This is the purpose, is showing up for us. And like, that's really, really powerful to me.
Definitely. And then I love how she talks about another really big question that she was asked was, what about her husband? Like, was her husband happier with this? And when she flat out asked him, he said no. He said not such like a husband response. Like,
oh no, I didn't do anything.
No, it didn't do a thing. And I laughed. And then she goes to talk about how he had changed. Mm-hmm. And I love that she talks about how she was worried that if she was to stop nagging or stop being on top of her husband, that he would just leave all of the work to her. And she says, surprisingly, that didn't happen. So I was like, oh, so you're telling me that by her not like nagging him and fighting with him about these things, that he actually just found himself being more apt to doing them. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
About, like just the little things that he would suddenly do. She talked about like wishing her happy birthday right when they woke up, or just like the little things that she knew that maybe he wouldn't contribute to necessarily him feeling overall happier, but those little changes that she saw in her husband that she knew were a ripple effect of her choices that she had made all of this last year.
100%. I love, love, love that. The next little piece that really, really stood out to me was like the very last paragraph. The year is over and I really am happier. After all my research, I found out what I knew all along. I could change my life without changing my life. When I made the effort to reach out for them, I found that the ruby slippers had been on my feet all along. The bluebird was singing outside my kitchen window. It's like the Wizard of Oz story, like just click your heels, like stop telling yourself that you got to go somewhere else to discover it. It's right here. It's in your home. It's in your heart. It's in you. And I think the permission to be, the permission to show up for yourself, that really hits home for me, right? Because society standards and how we're raised as women, we're raised to care for everyone else. We're raised to nurture everyone else. We're raised to follow these societal rules. But what if we kind of just say F that and do our thing and do things that bring us joy and do things that matter to us? And it may feel uncomfortable because it doesn't seem right. But in the end, it's even more right because we feel good. And then when we feel good, we behave good. And when we behave good, we treat others better. And when we treat others better, they feel good. And it's like the big circle of happiness.
I love it. Definitely love it. And I love that it's just, she talks that thing about just not having to change your entire life to change your life. And one of my favorite movies is Eat, Pray, Love, which, if you don't know, like the storyline, this woman gets this midlife crisis and she decides that she's going to take these very distinct trips to Italy to eat all of the food and just indulge in all the things. And then she was going to go to India and she was going to be at the ashram. She was going to learn all about prayer and all of these things, right? But the idea is she had to make this big, huge change. And in Hollywood, that's what it kind of tricks you to think is if you need to change your life, you need to change everything, right? You need to change your hair, you need to change your job, you need to have these big, audacious things that you change in your life. And it scares you off of doing the little things that actually are impactful. You don't need to move halfway across the world to learn about your faith. You don't need to, go on this huge extravagant vacation to learn about who you are. You could simply take the intentional time and be intentional with your body and stuff like that we've read in this book that would get you the same epiphanies, the same mindset shifts with a lot less effort. Like she says, changing your life without actually changing your life. And I think that her simplifying it is really where that magic happens. Because I think sometimes people think that it's just, these changes are just unattainable.
Yeah.
And in reality, she makes it so tactical that you can't deny that anybody could do this. No matter what your background is, what your size is, what your faith is, anybody could take at least 3 of these chapters that are in here and tactically improve your life with them. And I love that she talked about that and summed that up so well.
Well, and you're so right there. Like everybody worries about perfect. Like we want these big, crazy changes and we think that we have to change everything we're doing and it has to be huge and insane and like night and day difference, when that's such a lie. It's the baby steps. It's the consistency. It's the showing up day in and day out. It's the little things that over time compound into something so much bigger and create so much momentum for that life change that you're looking for.
I 100% agree.
Was there anything else in the December chapter that stood out to you?
Honestly, no. I think that it was so well wrapped up in that last little part that I just felt that it capsized it with just like she goes back over her like truths and just like the things that we know, that happiness doesn't always make you feel happy, act the way you want to feel. And at the end of the day, just to like take that moment to be grateful and be present where your feet are and look around at all the things that you already have. Because even if you, let's say like you don't want to go through and change your life, it's probably a fact that you could sit there and you could be more appreciative of the life you have. And I think that there's just something about that in this book and the intentionality of just, what do you have? Where are you at? And are you grateful for that?
Hands down, 100%. I agree. I loved digging into this book.
Me too. 12 months. Can you even?
It's nuts.
All right. We would love to hear though what you would be interested in doing for a happiness project. What would your month's focus look like? What are some things that you took away? What was your favorite month? I would love to hear all that. Tag us in our socials. Let us know what you're thinking. And we'll check in with the final book review.